All right.
All right, here we go. What's good? Welcome to a brand new episode of Drag the Lake. I thought I was going to get Pat coughing to his death, but unfortunately, he's still alive. That man still on this green earth is my co-host, Pat George. Pat George, how you doing, buddy?
I'm a professional, Andy. It's good to see
You're
you.
professional, Andy?
I'm yeah, you haven't seen me out on fucking Times Square? Yeah. You go, hello,
You're like,
hello.
is that what you do?
Yeah, that's
Is
my
that-
catchphrase. And I try to get pictures with people, but they never want to take a picture.
Taxation is them. But yes, that is Pat George. I'm your host, the real Andy Malafrina, not the naked Andy Malafrina you'll see coming soon to Times Square. We got a fun-filled fucking episode for you. If you are watching this on the YouTube channel, thank you so much. Subscribe, do all that shit, and also check out. We are going to be recording separately. NoFX just dropped a new album. What was it called? Double album or whatever.
Double album, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Double Album. So go check that out. That is what we're going to be doing after this. And but today we got a fun episode. Today we got to talk about our Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, it's red hot right now, Andy. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, it is trending. And so
Yeah,
we are hopping on that.
Yeah, we're gonna let you know why we think we're qualified to have this podcast. Because guess what? We have a lot of diversity in our listening, and we have a lot of stuff to say, Andy.
I don't have a lot of diversity at all.
How many screenshots did you take? I noticed I don't think you shared your Wrapped on any social media either.
I shared it on Twitter. I don't know if I shared it on Instagram. I don't know. A lot of people were bullying on the Spotify Wrap. I don't know. There's a lot of like I feel like a lot of social media now, and you know what? I think I'll do it time to time when I like we'll do it on this podcast, I'm sure, or I'll do it on my other one, No More Heroes, where I'm like critiquing the fucking world and this and that. But it is like there is so much of the world like I feel like everyone's judging you on how you're enjoying shit, and it's like. You know, because I think there's a thing where it's like you're supposed to be too cool to do the current thing, and I gotta be honest, I like doing the current thing. You know what I mean? When everyone was figuring out what their fucking music festival was based off Spotify and this and that, I like doing that. But everyone has to be too fucking cool for school. And as a man who still unironically listens to From Under the Cork Tree, I'm not fucking cool, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. I stand with you, my friend, as well. I like this. Music is one of the things that I really like.
Yeah.
It's not I don't do this podcast because I think that I am like better than everyone in the world. I do this because I
do. I thought that this morning when I was texting you about indie rock. I was like, I'm better at picking good music.
Hey, check out this take. It's a right take.
Wait, can I? Oh wait, where was my fucking phone? We got to take a sidebar on fucking indie rock because when I tweeted about it, because it was like I was still groggy. I didn't have my coffee, and I was just like, I hate indie rock. Every indie rock song right now sounds like a fucking Target ad. But when I was texting you today, I felt like I had a more cohesive thought where I was just like, oh yeah, because I was texting you and I was like trying to. I told you before we started recording for No More Heroes, I was doing a deep dive on Balenciaga, and now I'm very familiar with Satanic Cults, and now I'm sad all the time. And I'm trying to learn how to have palate cleansers. And I was like, maybe I need to go listen to some fucking bubbly indie rock, some knockoff Vampire Weekend to try to get my shit reset. And I start to realize it's like, no, it's not. Like, I'm not doing a thing when I'm just obsessed with hardcore. There's something about the way like my brain ping pongs with thoughts that just like aggressive music in general. Like if you look at the hip hop I like to listen to, like the hip hop I like to listen to, it's the songs you'd hear like that would make you want to fight. You know what I mean? Like or make you want to like cause a fucking problem. Like some ASAP Ferg or some ASAP Rocky or Run the Jewels or you know what I mean? Some shit like that. Like some shit that makes you want to like fucking start some shit, not some artsy fartsy, like let's fucking really think about shit. It's like, no, let's flip a table over and yell ignorant shit. You know what I mean?
That makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense why we don't necessarily match as much with hip hop and like, except for Run the Jewels, kind of, is because I feel like the hip hop I really liked when I was growing up, even the casual hip hop that I was a fan of was like Ludacris. I loved a lot.
I love Ludacris, dude. Word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth.
Word
Yeah,
of
hell yeah,
mouth.
dude.
I remember my dad making fun of me because he's in the car listening to Saturday, and in the music video they did like jazz hands or something the fuck in the music video, and I was like listening to it in the car doing jazz hands, and he's just like, what the fuck? My dad had a lot of moments where he didn't flat out call me gay, but it was like heavily implied. Like
Yeah.
he never used the words, but he was just like, he saw me doing this. He's like, what the fuck are you doing over there?
But I feel like he was almost like it was like there was more to it. Like it was entertaining as well as impressive. You
Oh
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like,
You
it was a thing that like I not only could I not do this on one level, but it is so much more impressive and different than every other type of artist I've seen. Same thing with like Busta Rhymes, I liked a lot. Like I know a lot of times they may like it feels gimmicky, but I don't feel like it's just like a true fucking talent to be that cool at something like that.
I
I don't know.
think I think
It,
what you're
it
trying to say is like rap when we were growing up, like rappers were much more well-rounded.
yeah,
Like right now, if you like a rapper, right now, if you like a rapper and you go and buy tickets, you know for a fact that you're taking a gamble where you go, are they gonna rap the whole song live? Like I told you about that when I went to go see Knocked Loose and like dudes
yeah,
like Ski Mask the Slump God and shit were performing live. And he lit like Ski Mask the Slump God, which I enjoy some of his music, but his live experience is literally he's playing the album track and he's being his own hype man. Back in the early 2000s, if you got a Busta Rhymes ticket, if you got a Ludacris ticket, and I also wanted to throw into this mix Missy Elliott, she was another one who I fucking loved back in the day. And I think she fits in that mix of sort of like Ludacris, Busta Rhymes, where their music, like they were always like a big presentation. The videos were always very over the top.
yeah.
Like one of my favorite things to do back in the day was to go, you'd go out at college, you'd drink, you get really drunk, you wouldn't get pussy, and then you'd come back to your dorm room and like rather than wallowing in it, you just sit there and you watch old Missy Elliott and Ludacris videos. It was
Right,
one of
of
my
course.
favorite pastimes. But like I think rappers when we were growing up were much more well-rounded than they are now. Now it's much more of a gamble of in the live experience and shit. Are they going to be able to like fucking bring it like it
They're
seems
going to be a
on the
performance. Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
yeah. I think that's just but overall, like I think that's where our disconnect is. Like at least like now, like even like I guess I never really continued having a like a necessary like it's just such it's like a I don't know. It's almost like I don't even think it's in my it's number two in my list, but I feel like that's a lot of like I don't know. I question some of the legitimacy of my Spotify genres sometimes because I feel like there was a pretty heavy amount of like classic rock that I listen to
Interesting.
and
Here.
a couple other things, but I'm just saying that like I don't feel like I don't know if I listen to this much hip hop.
Oh
It was
yeah, and you know what?
maybe I listen to more hip hop than I thought. I don't know.
I'll have something to piggyback on that when we get to our list. But let me read this thing. Let me read this text that because I think this is like the right opinion about indie rock.
About indie rock. Go for it.
No,
Yeah.
because I was realizing like this is like early in the morning when I'm trying to unwind, but I'm still putting on shout out. I forget who it was, but I tweeted out the one day. I go, yo, what music do you guys listen to when you're the most angry? So I was trying to get people to send me a bunch of like good hardcore music.
Yeah.
And I forget the dude's name on Twitter, but he sent me this album by this band called Nails, and it was called Abandon All Life. And I was playing that, and it was very chaotic and fucking crazy. But like I think sometimes when I'm fucking my brain's ping pong and going every which way, having some crazy nonsense going in my ears,
Yeah.
it was exactly what I needed. And I'm just like, dude, I can't listen to music that's not aggressive. I think that's just like, especially too with like my current state right now, where I'm not always the most financially stable. The career is still on the rise. Like I'm in a place where everything feels a little more chaotic, and I need, like let me ask you about this. Do you listen to music to sort of get into a different headspace, or because I listen to a lot of music sometimes to match what I feel like's going on in my head. You know what I mean? Because it's like if I like one of the big reasons I love listening to Knocked Loose is because I feel like that's almost that can be like the musical representation of like the speed of my brain. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what is it for you though?
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like a give and take. Like sometimes it's what my brain needs. So like if I notice that I'm not listening to whatever podcast or radio or anything like people talking, if I'm
Yeah,
not even paying attention to the conversation anymore, I have to like turn it off and just turn on some kind of music. But if I'm not necessarily, it's weird. Sometimes most of the time, and this is how I do it a lot of times, is I'll hit whatever like random shuffle on either my playlist or something else until it kind of stumbles on an artist and it reminds me, or I'll go into my whatever suggested, because I've picked what I wanted to listen to so many times. I gotta kind of feel it. So it does go that way, but I don't always know what to listen to when I'm feeling something. But when it fucking hits, when I find that song, like I'll skip over and over again in the car until it feels right,
yeah.
whatever song it is. So a lot of times I feel like it's like a some kind of like old like R&B or like Bad Religion. Like I gotta tell you, in almost every mood I'm in, Bad Religion makes me feel good.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought you were the center of the Bad Religion R&B Venn diagram?
Yeah, I'm the hand shaking. It's
You're the
me.
middle. You're
It's
like
just me on both sides.
R&B Bad Religion. It's just Pat in the little fucking middle. Um,
It's
that's
almost
funny.
always seriously like it's and then it's just finding which Bad Religion song I'm feeling, and it's usually Generator or You. I can narrow it down to almost songs that will always they're always like a fail safe, but most of the time I let the song choice kind of find me in that way. Like I told you that on my way to open mics,
Yeah.
I use music on my way to the mic. I don't listen to talking. I listen to music.
Yeah.
And if I'm ever writing, I always listen to instrumental music. So I have like multiple playlists, but on my way to shows or mics, I'll listen to Discover Weekly, like whatever the suggestions are.
Yeah.
And I play a game where I can't skip a song. That's like my one superstition.
Oh, really?
If I'm going to a performance, it's going to be a bad performance if I skip the song.
Hmm.
So that could dictate the whole night. You know what I mean?
That's like your you said that. That's your superstition. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. But
I
I don't
don't know
know.
if I don't know if I have like a build up for that. I definitely will. I remember back in the day when I would get more nervous for things. I would definitely often Run the Jewels was a good go to like get me in the mood because I think I need to have sort of like if I'm psyching myself out, I need to like do the reverse and be like, you're the man, you're gonna kill it, you're the fucking shit, let's go. And Run the Jewels is a real quick pathway to that.
If I wanna for sure pump myself up though, if I don't want there to be a question, if it's
Mm-hmm.
like a show, like a performance or something like that, I'll go into actually a lot of times I've started using it's a one it's a playlist that I curated for what we call guard passing day at jujitsu. It's actually tomorrow morning. Shout out to 6 a.m. Um, I'm gonna be tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm going to line up on the wall or I'm going to sit on a spot on the mat, and people are like for a full hour. We're just going to try to pass each other's guard. If you pass the guard, you keep the spot, and then the next person comes up, and it just continues for a whole full hour.
Yeah.
And we started playing music during the rolls, and I usually play the phone. Like a couple other people will put their phone on or something like that, but I actually started like picking particular songs that help to like motivate. There is some Rage Against the Machine. There's
Yo,
some
they
hip
sorry to
hop.
cut you off. They play that shit a lot at CrossFit.
Yeah, it helps.
Rage, although they're all like fucking middle-aged commies, they're
Yeah,
really good workout music.
I'm telling you. Like, dude, it's really hold on. Like, so I'll like just a rundown of a couple, but also like Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder's another person that's one of the artists like I can listen to that'll make me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, there's Mark Ronson and Mystical, Run the Jewels, Kanye West, Earth, Wind and Fire, Bad Religion. Uh, who else? A couple other people, Descendants, Styx. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's Van Halen, there's and then also like Metallica, and then I also open up the playlist. Like anybody in class, if you have a suggestion, let me know and we'll put it. Like I'm open to it. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. But I've actually found myself listening to that because or at a jujitsu competition or a show or something like that. If you want to like focus or something like that, kind of get yourself pumped up. That playlist on random, guaranteed to help. I guarantee.
Oh, so let me keep
No,
getting sidetracked. Let me say the thing about I was just pissed about indie rock this morning.
yeah, I didn't mention any indie rock on there, by the way. Did you notice that? Sorry, go ahead.
But I was texting Pat. I go, also, indie rock kind of fucking sucks a lot of the time. It's
Mhm.
always kids that can't play their instruments, but they know enough to make it sound somewhat interesting. And then retards try to tell you it's high art, and all of it sounds like a Gap ad. That, by the way, was like the comic in me because I was like, I already said Target on Twitter. So I was
Yeah,
trying not to like repeat myself and be a
appreciate
hack.
it.
But
I
no,
thought,
for real though, like so much. I remember it so much listening to like a lot of these bands, and like maybe it's just me being a musician and I know what it takes to play these instruments and shit like that. And like a lot of these indie rock bands, you can hear it. Like that's what always annoyed me about the Strokes. And I know that the Strokes are like the songs are good, but like you really listen to them and it's like, okay, I'll accept because music's subjective, it's an opinion thing.
right.
I will accept that you like this song, but like, you know what I mean? I accept that you like this song, but like you can hear for 2 seconds, you're like, oh, these guys don't take a second to learn their fucking instruments. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I gotta be, and I don't, you don't need to be fucking perfect at it. I was never perfect at the drums. I was pretty good at the drums, but I was never fucking perfect, but as a musician, it always annoyed. It's why I never, like after a certain point, I never seriously considered like, oh, Meg White's actually a really good drummer. She's not. Jack White's just one of the best guitarists, and you can
Yeah.
put a fucking, you could put a sack of potatoes falling down a goddamn hallway and it would sound good under Jack White.
Right.
You know what I
I
mean? So
agree.
it's like indie rock can be one of the most because now indie rock has a lot of like synth and electronics over top of it, and you can turn a few fucking dials. And now, don't get me wrong, there's definitely a lot of that shit where, because people are going to get fucking annoyed because they probably like some indie rock band where they're using a bunch of synth. Some of them, like, you can put a lot of fucking effort into them, but the other ones, it's just like holding down a fucking chord and it arpeggiates the right way. And now, because people don't know any better, they're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I get more annoyed, honestly. I get more annoyed, honestly, with the fucking people who listen to it who don't know any better. And they're trying to tell me like what I'm hearing is a big fucking deal. And I'm like,
Yeah.
honestly, this is a happy fucking LSD laced accident at best.
Yeah. This is the product of great production. That's what this is. This is not musicianship. This isn't artistry. This is a bunch of people in there constructing an album that you were going to like, no
Yeah.
matter what.
Mm.
They're gonna put it out and they're gonna say, "Look, there's them wearing those clothes on the cover of the album, huh?" And then they're gonna go like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like it's like a thing. Like it kind of goes hand in hand. I feel like with like the craft beer thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Wait, I think I know what you're going to say.
I mean, it's just like it's like oh it's like you like the more things you have to say before you say beer. Do you know? You know what I mean? Like, you
Ooh.
know what I mean? Like you're like this is blah 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 infused with boo 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 ba ba boo 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 boo. You know what I mean? Like this guy plays the accordion. Who fucking cares? Do you want to hear the accordion in a song a lot? Like, is that
Dude, I
something you're
was just thinking
fucking
about that.
striving for?
I was just thinking about that with the fucking like violin when people
Yeah.
try to throw like a violin or something like
Like
that
that
in a
they put the violin and they say like it's a deep band now. Like and it's like no, they just have a guy who plays fucking or a lady who plays usually a lady who plays violin.
yeah. Well, no, I was thinking about it because I brought these guys and gals up before, but shout out the Callous Dow Boys because they're a hardcore band and they have like a fucking violin in there, and then you see the violin and you're like, come on, and then they start playing and you're like, Okay,
Okay,
that's
that's pretty
pretty cool.
cool.
But like a lot of times you have these fucking bands where they throw in a thing, dude. And honestly, I'll shit on the genre I like. Metalcore and screamo was doing it a fuck ton when I was in high school. When everyone found out you could get a microcork for $400,
Yeah.
and you could you would once again back to the dude fucking figure out how to do the arpeggiating. Where
Yeah.
for people who don't know, it's when you press one button and it basically goes up and like say you press you press like the A note, and then it just goes up the A chord, and it's like what a and it like sounds way you're not doing anything. You
Most of what Muse does.
oh,
He
that
put one of
heavy
those
metal
bitches in
band,
his. He put. Don't give me
that
motherfucker,
heavy metal band.
dude. He put one of those motherfuckers in his guitar.
Oh, really?
But he's talented. It's fun. We have a good
You know
time.
what the funniest version of like just like razzle dazzle is like the double neck guitar.
Yeah,
It's like there's no way to play both of those at the same time, so why even do
there is
that?
though. They can do that. I've seen it. It's
How?
not. It's not. It doesn't sound good. You know what I mean? Like when they go woo like this, and you're like, yeah, that's cool. Have you ever seen the guy playing the guitar on both sides? It's like a lady's legs. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's probably them just doing hammer-ons, the exact same hammer-ons at the same time.
That was Tenacious D actually.
Maybe.
I don't, and he might not actually. You know what? Now I'm thinking about it, he might not actually been playing both those.
If it was Tenacious D, it rules then. I'll give him a pass.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
but
I
that's the
just
only time I've seen it work. So you're right. You have a good point. It's a great point, and they're not, and they're definitely not indie rock.
No.
So Andy, is your Spotify? I'm assuming then one of your top genres is not indie rock.
You'll be happy to find out. One of my top genres is definitely not indie rock. My genres go from my top genres go from to yeah, obviously. So let me show you mine real quick. So my top genres, it's hip hop, melodic hardcore, emo, metalcore, metallic hardcore. So it's basically like 3 genres.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say it's like so hardcore.
Hardcore, emo, melodic hardcore, which I always was like intrigued by that. You remember when every album or every band, when they would put out their second album, I started to notice this when I would read alternative press all the time, but like every band would put out their second album and they'd always be like, this one's going to be a little bit more melodic. And you're like, you're playing music. Was the first one not melodic? What do you, I
Wait,
never
hold on.
understood. I
There
never
was no
understood
melody in the first one.
I never understood what the fuck that meant.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
You made music. Isn't it always melodic?
Is there like a way that, because there's also people a lot of times I've heard people explain when they're like talking about an album. I've heard this a lot lately, and I don't feel like I've heard it a lot before, but people like going into the sonic nature of an album. That's like, wait, do you know what you're talking about? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, that's what always annoyed me. I always said the best way to review a band or to like suggest a band to someone is to figure out what 2 bands they're the middle between.
Yeah.
So because it's like
the best way. If you like blah or blah.
Well, it's ironic we're doing a music show because I've wanted to do a music show because maybe I like subconsciously wanted to do it to sort of solve this problem, but like I always got annoyed with music reviews because it's like one of 2 things. If I haven't listened to the album, no amount of adjectives will aid me right now.
Right.
No endless amount of adjectives describing this fucking album will help me right now. And then if I already listened to the album, I'm just going to find out if I agree with you or not. Yeah. So it's like ultimately like music reviews are like borderline useless from time to time.
Yeah, I think that's why the like reaction. I think also like fan reactions to video or like to albums or songs or anything like that, I think are a lot more reliable. Just because you can, like hear from a perspective of I liked, but still you're saying I liked this album and I liked this album. So I don't really love this album. So like that's something I feel like for most fans, like we're gonna be talking about NoFX later on, and like there's still like, oh, this is my favorite album. So that kind of gives you a press like where how do you feel about that album compared to their other ones?
Yeah.
And then that will help you gauge this review. And I feel like that gives
Mm.
it just a little bit more accuracy. You know,
No, that's a
you don't have to be like a fucking like I went to school for music production and I don't fucking know anything about fucking decibels. I learned about them. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about because I'm like, what? Megahertz? Is that what the H is? No, it's hertz, I think.
yeah.
But I don't I it's to say it's this or I like it, a lot of times I'll tell my review is not reliable for anybody because I'm like this album makes me feel cold.
What album is that?
Visu by Thrice. I love it. I always listen to it in December.
Honestly, though, like that's better than being like the sonic influence of the
Yeah.
fucking blah blah blahs.
What are you
Like,
talking about?
because
What?
if I know a little bit about Thrice, you know, I know enough about Thrice that when you go, this Thrice album makes me feel cold. That actually, like, it's a silly way to describe it, but that actually like fucking does something for me.
Yeah, it's and it's also like I think there is a little bit of mind over matter in that sense as well because I think then just somebody's going to be like maybe it's just because I said it, but it's also like then they're going to be like, yeah, that's kind of fucking make you feel cold, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is weird, but it's also it's fucking cold out. Like in Florida, that's the thing. That's when I came to that review. By the way, 5 stars. It makes me feel cold. Uh, that's the official review. It's a great album. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, actually.
Yeah.
But it's a thing where it doesn't usually get that cold in Florida. So it was a thing of like it made me feel like it kind of like brought me to a mindset. I don't know. It has an influence. There's a
Well,
couple albums that have that weird like influence on me.
well, it
But
also too, it's like it's funny, you know, like what you were saying before, and then thinking of the context of like from band to band, it does differ from band to band. Like imagine if Brand New came out with a new album, and you were kind of like, well, someone was like, well, am I gonna like it? You'd almost be like, all right, what do you like more, your favorite weapon or the
exactly.
Devil and
Yeah.
God?
Yeah,
You know, and
exactly.
if someone was like, oh, I love your favorite weapon's my favorite Brand New album, you'd be like, okay, you're probably not going to be that excited. But if
Yeah.
you like when they're doing their like weird indie rock post hardcore shit, then you'd
Yeah.
probably like it more. It's the same thing with like it's the same thing with 4 Year Strong. If 4 Year Strong put out a new album, you'd be like, have you only ever listened to the old stuff? You're probably not going to like the new album then. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like rather than being like going to your goddamn your fucking Rolodex of synonyms,
Yeah.
it's almost like reviews don't need to be as long as they are. They really don't. They need to be it's a real short to the chase. And honestly, like it's like music's so fucking subjective at the end of the day that it's like just go into it with your own. Don't bait it goes back to the fucking Grammy conversation we were having. Don't let these like random dudes you've never met dictate whether the shit you like is valid or not. Just like it's fucking music. It doesn't matter.
And this is my initial issue with like when they have all these different genres and stuff like that. When they started like splitting genres up. So like this is I'll example right here. I'll show you my top genres.
Yeah, give me your genres.
This is what I don't understand, and I've never understood. There we go. Boom. I have in my top genres, punk, hip hop, rock, funk, and post hardcore. Post hardcore is the genre I don't understand because and I've never understood this when we started splitting everything up. Like these are all very simplistic. These speak to me 100%. This is that. Yes, punk, hip hop, sure. Rock, yep, funk, absolutely. But why not just hardcore?
You know what
I don't know what post hardcore is.
You know what post
fucking hardcore.
You know what post hardcore is? I'll tell you what post hardcore is. Post hardcore is where you listen to it and you go, It's not quite. It's not quite a fucking Minor Threat, but it's also not quite Sunny Day Real Estate. It's somewhere in the middle.
Like Turnstile?
A little bit, yeah.
Like where it's just kind of like this thing of like he's not really like screaming, he's like yelling.
Yeah, or like sometimes or like what Thursday would be sometimes. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Or fuck, not Mars Volta, the other one. The one before them. The
at
one
the drive-in.
When they split up, at the
yeah.
drive-in.
No, you get when you get these genres, that's where when you get these genres that you can't
Is that
quite
post-hardcore?
Yeah.
Sorry.
When you get these genres that you can't quite put your finger on it, that's when you get the sillier of the names. So that's where like the cores come into play, like metalcore, deathcore, easycore, stuff like that. When it's sort of that in between genre, you know, if you hear a band like Real Big Fish, you're like, boom, ska.
Yeah.
Or if you hear a band like you know, if you hear a band like Sum 41, well, even Sum 41, they got a little more metal towards the middle than a little bit later and stuff. But if you take a band like Blink 182, you're like, boom, pop punk. Yeah. You know what I mean? Shit like that. But once you start getting to the whole, you know, like Every Time I Die, they're not quite like a hardcore band, but they're also not quite like a screamo.
They're not really metal.
They're not exactly metal, but they're not punk, but they're not rock, you know what I mean? So you kind of like metalcore, because metal, you know, metalcore is basically to me metal that leans closer to punk.
Okay. All right. So but that's what I'm saying is like, but I feel like different people have different ideas of because I just looked up At the Drive-In.
Yeah.
And technically what genre they're given is indie. It's like, what?
No, see, indie.
I don't know about that. They seem like, but then like what is post-hardcore? That means
no. Here's indie rock to me. Here's indie rock to me. If we're at a medium-sized venue and I'm in the back of the room, I can talk to you without yelling too loud.
Okay.
That's indie rock. That it's a volume thing. You know what I mean? Like if we're at the fucking Stroke show and we're near the merch booth, we're not yelling that loud to talk to each other.
Yeah, we're like, but if we're sucks, you want to get out of here? Like,
yeah,
they're like, hey, could you keep it down back there?
But if we're at the drive-in show, the only time we're gonna be able to talk to each other at the merch booth is when they're in the middle of their 20-minute talk about why feminism rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get the book Sellout. The At the Drive-In chapter will not make you like them. And he didn't even do that on purpose. He just described At the Drive-In.
Oh. He was just like, hey, here's the synopsis, and you're like, these guys suck,
bro. Dude, like one of their most like classic moments is them just being like prima donnas, and they're literally like the lead singer's on stage just being like, you're all sheep, bah, bah, and you're like, you suck, dude.
Yeah, that's probably the guy that started Mars Volta, isn't it?
Yeah, him and the guitarist that had a similar look to him. They both started Mars Volta.
They look like the same person. You could say it.
What?
It's not racial. It's not. They look like kind of just the same person, right? Don't they have like poofy hair and they're
not the same person, same like ballpark of people. You know what I mean? Same ballpark
genre of people. I'm gonna start calling races genres.
Well, the guitarist is more indie and the lead singer is more post-hardcore.
How many total minutes did you listen to?
Wow, you're goddamn psychic. That's what I wanted to bring up. How many do you think I did?
Okay. Can you give me I'll give you over under. I think you're over.
Can I guess what I think you have?
I think you saw it already.
I definitely don't remember it if I saw it.
Okay.
I think you're at 70K.
70K.
Is that too high?
1,000 minutes? Yeah. Are you
really?
Are you in the 70,000s? Are you in the you're 100,000?
No, I'm not 100,000.
75,000.
No, up.
Damn, more 80,000?
80,000, yeah.
Damn, I'm at 9,192.
Wait, what?
That doesn't make any sense.
9,000?
Wait, didn't you say you listen to podcasts on there too?
Playtime. Oh. Oh yeah, that's playtime. That's not just music. So my podcasts
Okay.
were about like 37,000. So this would have put me at like
That's still impressive.
still 43,000. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's very impressive. I think when I listen to music, sometimes I listen to my iTunes half the time,
Okay.
or at least a quarter of the time. So even still, I probably am only at like 20,000.
Mm.
That's interesting. Very interesting, Andy. Very interesting.
Do you want to do
You know
most played? Do you want to do most played songs or bands? Let's do
I did.
songs.
Okay, I did top. Yeah, I got top songs here first. Let me bring mine up here.
Mine
My
is
top.
at. Let me get mine out of the way because mine's like very similar to my genres. Mine. Oh, actually, speaking of genres, I needed to address. I don't know how hip hop got it to be number one.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's
I have
weird.
no. You know what I think it is? You know what I think it is? Because a lot of times when because I listen to like when I'm like not everyone wants to like listen to the hardcore music. So when I have other people in the
Right.
car, I
Yeah.
will often go to like a more neutral sound, a more neutral music. So I'll go to like the chill playlist, which has a lot of hip hop on it, or I'll just go to the hip hop playlist, or I'll go to like just more hip hop oriented shit. Cause I feel like that's more general to like, so I think that's why. And also I probably just listen to the shit out of Run the Jewels.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I think Run the Jewels is the reason for a lot of this because my top songs are shocking.
Yeah.
So please,
Okay.
please,
So let me get mine out of the way because they are anything but. So yeah, pretty standard. 3 out of the 5 are knocked loose. You know what I mean?
wow.
With how often I talk about them, Counting Worms, which that one's funny because I will a lot of time I will listen to songs and I will imagine being in a hardcore band because
Yeah,
I really do want to fucking scream in a hardcore band at some point. That is on the to-do list. So I listen to a
do
lot of
that for the
songs. What?
karaoke, right? Do the comic karaoke or whatever.
The what?
What's it called? Comic karaoke or the
You
the
talk
thing
about
that?
like goddamn comedy jam?
Yeah, do that.
I don't know if they let me do knock loose.
Oh, I'm
Um
sure they would. Come on.
so I listened to a lot of that. I listened to their newest EP, Tearing the Fracture of Life or whatever it's called.
Uh huh.
That's fucking amazing. So I've been listening to that a shitload. That's why I got God Knows and Where Light Divides the Holler on there. Counterparts, they put out an amazing album, and Whisper of Your Death is fucking great. And Counterparts is great. I've brought this up before. They're a really cool combo because they will be that like hardcore band that gives you the fucking two-step parts, the breakdowns, but they also incorporate some sort of like emo-y shit, really
Yeah.
really fun depressing lyrics.
Yeah, you said. I think you said. I was listening to them on the way to a mic one day, and I was like you had suggested them. I really took. I think we talked about them even on the show.
Well, that's the reason I'm saying it's like this is the least surprising list is just because it's all the bands I constantly talk about.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. It's very consistent.
and then Sly by Every Time I Die, where so that whole album Radical is fucking amazing. If you guys haven't listened to it, you need to listen to it right now. But the song Sly in particular, it just has it like it's one of those songs that's like this long build up because it's like a long build to this line at the end where he has this line where he just goes, "Give my love to Buffalo, Buffalo." And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
something about when it hits that. It's just this like, because I've heard Keith talk about Buffalo, how it's this place where he's like, I don't even necessarily like it all the time. It's a dark, dreary, snowy, cold place, but it's like it's my hometown. And
yeah,
I feel like a similar way sometimes to where I grew up because I never got like where I grew up. I never got the benefit of being like, I'm from Philly, like, like I'm
yeah,
from a
yeah.
fucking place. Like, even the places I'm near, it's like Allentown, Bethlehem. I didn't like I grew up in the suburbs. I didn't actually like grow up in Allentown or in Bethlehem. So I have this like I have this like disconnect with like growing up actually anywhere. So like hearing Keith talk about that with Buffalo, and then hearing that line where he always says, "Give my love to Buffalo," but you actually like know how he feels about that. I kind of have this sort of like, I can kind of like relate to a degree.
Give
Although
my
I
love
think,
to Allentown, Allentown.
yes, dude. But I will say this: definitely, growing up in Allentown probably is much, or growing up right outside Allentown is probably a much more happy situation than fucking Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
But I
Oh
still
yeah.
feel I sort of relate to it, and I just think that line hits real fucking hard. So
Yeah,
those are my top songs.
it's funny that you bring up that particular song in general. Also, I did notice something. So I also have this weird habit. Maybe it's just because I'm a little bit older than you, buddy. But I have this habit of where buying albums is still a thing. So I also have Radical, but I listen to it on my iTunes. I bought the album.
You bought it?
Yeah, for when it's bands that I love. I also have a couple of my just honorable mentions that definitely got more plays that didn't get counted on here because they're on iTunes, and I also produced them myself. I ripped them off the internet, and then I adjusted the sound a little bit. And I have White Trash, Two Heaves and a Bean live from Fat Mike's backyard. I even made the album art because it's not an album; it was just a live stream. And also
You literally upload MP3s to your
to my
phone?
own, yeah, yeah.
Damn.
I
That's
no
like
no
some
no. I record them off the internet. I bring them into my audio software. I edit them. I track them. I name them. I bring them into my iTunes. I name them. I put the artist down. I do all that stuff, and then I also clip the album art as well. So
Dude,
I
that's
also
so funny. That is such a different level. That is such like a new version of retro in like the most not retro way.
yeah, maybe I
It's
don't know.
so weird. That's so,
Yeah,
but not in a bad way. That's so fucking funny, man.
but I don't really necessarily. I really love, you know how Coast Contra got really popular recently. Um,
Coast.
Coast Contra is like they have that really awesome freestyle where they're all sitting at the table.
Oh yeah, and
Um,
they're
that one guy Eric Jamal like just goes crazy at the end, and he tells like
yeah.
a crazy story and shit. It's like storytelling rap and shit like
That
that.
line, yeah, and it's funny because that, not trying to shit on him, but that, if you really listen to what he's saying, it's not as like crazy of a verse, but it's the
No,
way he sells it.
it's his performance of it. Yeah, he's an
Yeah,
incredible. I started following him.
his performance. Are they called Coast Contra?
Coast Contra, yeah.
Yeah,
So
what
I
that
also
fucking
created
beat.
something of theirs because I love all their freestyles, but they're not
Yeah,
available online anywhere. So I just
those
tracked them.
those freestyles are, I will say those freestyles are on Spotify, because I remember I was listening to a mix, and that one, their main one specific, I forget what the fucking beat is, because the one of their
It's
popular one
Jid.
is
Jid.
Jid.
Yeah, it's because because Manny told me about it. He's like, oh no, is it Jid? No, sorry. Kendrick Lamar? Oh fuck. God damn it. I can't remember. He told me the person because I was like, I told him I really like that song and I played it for him and he's like, "Oh, that's really good. Do you like the song
Yeah,
that
it is Jid. It is
Jid?"
Jid.
Okay.
I
Couldn't
just
remember.
pulled it. I don't know if you guys actually heard that, but I was pulling it up just to double check. And yeah, it is, because that's like their most popular one. It's at like 8 million downloads. Yeah, that beat goes hard as fuck, and then the way they're rapping over top of it. Yeah, that was
So
back to what I was saying. Like back to what I like about rap, the fucking intensity, and that has like
yeah,
nothing but intensity.
that's a song that I will listen to a lot of times before like again before performing or something like that because it's just one of those things. It's like it, but I couldn't find it anywhere that wasn't just available like I like the YouTube video or something like that for
Yeah.
because it wasn't available for a long time. So I made that and I finally last honorable mention was the Bad Religion. This is not available anywhere else. The Into the Unknown.
Oh
That's the one.
yeah.
That's like that's their indie rock one or whatever.
That's, for anyone who doesn't know,
New wave.
Bad Religion put out a Prague album,
Oh, Prague. That's what it was.
and
Yeah.
then immediately regretted it.
Yeah, it's not great. I don't listen to that a lot, but my top songs are a little bit more confusing, but also don't say too much about me necessarily as a music fan, Andy, but they do
Mm-hmm.
say a lot about me as far as how much I train jujitsu. Because These are all from that guard passing list. These are or guard passing day playlist that I have. Vibrant Thing
Ooh,
by
we got Run
Q-Tip.
the Jewels on there.
Run the Jewels. Ooh La La is my favorite song by them.
And I posted this on my Instagram story. I take if I see Run the Jewels on any of my friends' fucking Spotify Wrapped, I
It
will
is you,
take
yeah.
complete credit for that.
Yeah, you technically you and Kirk. I gotta give Kirk because he was also somebody
But
that was
I
talking
might have
about
told Kirk about Run the Jewels if I remember
you gotta
correctly.
take that up with him, pal.
I
Okay,
gotta
that's
double check with Kirk, but I think not that Kirk. I will give Kirk credit. He is very well, more so than you or I, is very well versed in hip hop and rap and stuff. But I do believe I brought Run the Jewels to Kirk's attention.
so I got some classic down here. It Takes Two. That's a song that I personally picked for the guard passing day because hey man, for jujitsu, it takes two. Uh
No, wait, what about these songs? How does these correlate to guard passing specifically?
these are all on that playlist.
No, but like, what about these songs get you hyped to pass some
So
guards?
some of them are like, oh, it's kind of like a joke as like, oh, it takes two, but it's also a good song. Like
Yeah,
they're it's double entendre.
yeah.
But also they're ones that kind of pump me up. So Hit Machine by Guttermouth. If you can't get excited, if you don't like fucking Hit Machine by Guttermouth and you say you like punk rock, you're a fucking lying piece of shit, dude. That's the perfect punk rock song.
I gotta pull that up. I haven't listened to a lot of Guttermouth.
Also Guttermouth is low key, probably. I'm surprised I don't have a Guttermouth tattoo because I'm pretty sure they are absolutely one of my favorite bands. And I kind of like the most influential bands of my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely am surprised about. I think I don't have a Bad Religion tattoo because I kind of figured nobody in Bad Religion has tattoos.
No, I'm sure they do.
But
Wait,
I love Bad Religion.
let me
Sorry.
ask you this just to take a quick right turn. How many of your tattoos are band tattoos? Because I'm very curious about that. Because a lot of times when I think of tattoos, I purely think in reference to bands.
I think like some are references to bands. Like I do have like on my arm, I have like this is the only one that I kind of have outside of like most of my band tattoos are on my legs, but this is my NoFX tattoo from the Monst tour, and I really just like the design of it.
Yeah.
And also a lot of my tattoos are free, Andy. So so they were just kind of like whenever whoever wanted to give them to me. But all of them
Ooh.
are all of them are my favorite like favorite and most influential bands of my lifetime. So I have a Pennywise tattoo because that was a symbol I saw a lot of times, and it kind of felt like that was my I think my first band tattoo. No, my first band tattoo was my NoFX tattoo. It was from the EP "The Idiots Are Taking Over," and it's like a
Yeah.
zombie. It combined zombies and NoFX, and it's the classic first calf leg tattoo right here on the side of the leg.
Mhm.
But I think I'd say about half of the tattoos I have are band related um or like or like actual just band tattoos.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily because I also have like mom tattoos. Oh shit, I forgot I have a Refuse tattoo across my chest. Actually, yeah, maybe most of my tattoos are band related.
I don't know. I know for me, like, because I'm really in the mood to like get a lot more tattoos, but my brain just goes to I think the easiest thing to go to is like lyrics and stuff that
Yeah.
kind of like stick out to you.
Yeah, I think it's mostly either album art from my favorite album by there,
Right there.
like for my Every Time I Die tattoo, it's just a classic, eye, but it's the eye in like the same font or the same color as the Big Dirty. That's my favorite.
Oh, okay. That's
So
pretty
it's not
sick.
so it's not like it's not very detailed. It's actually didn't heal great, so it doesn't look awesome. You know what I mean? But it's like it's my Every Time I Die tattoo kind of thing. Like I don't care what my tattoos look like, and I don't care if anybody likes them. It's like they're ones that I like, so that's why I got them. Like the same thing with the zombie no effects tattoo. Like I was like, hey, can you make it look like the headphones he's wearing is going into the no effects? And he's like, sure.
Yeah.
Like I don't give a fuck if anybody likes it. That's what I would design if I was 16 years old and getting my favorite band's name tattooed on my leg.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
I'm also pro people always talk about you gotta like put a lot of thought into tattoos, and I'm like, not necessarily. Like, okay, if you're the chick getting Drake across her forehead, you probably want to put a little thought into that. But like, if you can easily cover it up, you know what I mean, and you're not joining some like fucking Aryan gang in jail or whatever, just get
Right.
the fucking tattoo, dude.
Dude, did I tell you what my next tattoo is going to be?
No.
My next tattoo is going to be in very beautiful cursive on my foot, either one on the top of my foot. It's going to be like a beautiful butterfly, like as beautiful as possible, and the most beautiful script saying diarrhea.
I like that.
That's my tattoo. That's
I
like
like that. I like that a lot. I'm
it's
gonna say
either.
this straight up, Pat. I like that a lot.
Do you support it? I'm going to start a GoFundMe for if anybody wants to fund that tattoo. I will also film myself getting it. And and honestly, dude, if somebody doesn't think that I will get diarrhea tattooed on my body for the first time, I'm not even saying this is going to be the last time. This is the first time. I will have someone else spell check it though. I'm not spelling it because I still don't know how to spell it.
No, you should be like, guys, don't worry. I'm gonna pay for diarrhea 1, but diarrhea 2, we're doing an Indiegogo 100%.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I want you to see my vision first, and then that way you'll know what's the next place I should get the word diarrhea tattooed on myself, and what should I have next to it?
That would be sick, dude. Auction off
my body.
Auction off your body. Auction off parts of your body to get tattooed.
I like how you were like, you didn't think of it until I said it, and you're just like, oh yeah. Like, go ahead and just auction your body off. But I would be totally cool.
Yeah,
With that.
sell yourself
honestly,
into
not the face though. The face would have to be in probably the millions.
No, dude, sell yourself into sex slavery. I've been doing a lot reading up on it. There is a big market for it.
I'm of age, so I mean, I should be able to just get consent.
That would be hilarious, by the way, to go to the satanic sex party and then they just like shun you because you're too old. Like, ew, a 30-year-old? Ew.
You're not 18.
And also that's way too old for us too.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that's actually
also you are 18.
I didn't go low enough.
You are 18, so also ill.
Yeah. Also, don't fucking tell anybody you were here, please.
Also, get out of here, Grandma.
Hey, so I don't.
I may have. Oh, I wanted to say I may have. A tattoo. What am I trying? Jesus fucking Christ. I may have more tattoos on next episode because we're going to punk rock flea market. I have a very musical weekend coming up. We're going in Newark. They have this thing called the punk rock flea market. And they're apparently giving out like cheap tattoos there and stuff. So I might hook myself up because I've decided I was like, I'm gonna get hand tattoos eventually. I don't care. I'm into hardcore music. I'm gonna live the life. I'm going farther down the arm and it might creep up onto the hand. So I'm just gonna fucking let it rip. I had a thing go off in my brain recently and I was just like, we got to get way more tattoos on this body. You know what I mean? We got to step our shit up.
Is it something? I think it's something that's referred to as a manic episode.
Yeah.
I love those things.
I thought of it while I was wearing a full mask on the Alex Jones show, praising some not great people. And I'm like, I should get hand tattoos.
I like how it's a not great person. You're right. That's a good representation. A not so great person.
I'm not getting audio of me saying that sentence.
I gotcha. Hey, no, I'm here for it, dude. I know.
I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it on wax. Me saying those words in that order.
Give me this number. Do you have handy how many artists you listen to in the year?
Oh, did I? You know what? I might hit me with yours because I don't think I actually sent that to myself.
This is the thing that I was wondering about was because like man, I got 2 kitty cats that just came up the stairs at the same time. It's adorable.
It's pretty hype.
831. I was at 831 total artists. So like I wonder if maybe like you have a ton of listening hours, sure, but do I have more diversity in artists? And are you going to show me that I am a complete asshole at this moment?
What do you mean?
Oh, I thought you would have it ready to be like, actually, listen to fucking 700,000 fucking artists. Hello, Carmela, you little shithead.
Wait, do they still have the shit up?
Don't step on that, you dickhead.
You stupid bitch.
Look at this, Carmela. Look at this beautiful baby.
Is that a new cat?
Yeah, this is Carmela.
It's cute.
She's my little stinky Bella. Mi Bella Carmela. She's named after Carmela Soprano. And,
Nice.
We found her at a veterinarian's office in Chambers.
Wait, she's named after Carmela Soprano. She does look exactly like the most perfect woman in the world.
Right?
Carmela was just
man. She likes herself. This is her, I think, her on-camera debut.
I do not have the how many bands I listen to.
831 on this end. So I wonder if maybe you're like, oh yeah, I listen to 4 bands.
Well, that's what I worry about. So I definitely listen to, if it was like my YouTube. All right, get the cat out of here.
She's adorable, isn't she? I can't believe she just like said that she just really likes being here. Hey.
Yeah, she's just waiting. All right. What was I gonna say? No, if it was YouTube, because definitely YouTube, when I'm making those playlists, which I am always constantly behind on, so just look for the Drag the Lake. It'll be DTL, the month and the year is the different
DTF, guys. Don't forget it.
Those are the different but on YouTube I listen to like mad artists trying to like find new music and stuff. But I bet you I'm substantially lower on how many artists I listen to. I bet you I'm substantially lower than you are. All right, Pat, let's fucking knock it off with the cats.
She's looking at the screen. I just wanted to show her she can be a star one day.
All right, so let me show you my top artist. This is another round. I'm gonna go first because this is another round of like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was a little surprised that it wasn't a little bit changed up. I'm surprised Knock Loose. I'm surprised Knock Loose wasn't first, but Counterparts was my most listened to band. They I got into them heavy what?
But when I feel like that you got into them like a little bit ago, because I remember when you told me about them.
Yeah, no, I just got into them this year. This same thing happened in like 2020 with Dance Gavin Dance. Like I obviously knew a lot about Dance Gavin Dance, but I got into them in like 2020, and then they quickly became my most listened to band. And so this happened with Counterparts this year. They just like connected with me, and they were kind of like a new variation on the sound that I kind of was already listening to. So I got heavy into Counterparts. And then just all the following bands are just the other bands I listen to the most anyway. Like I'm gonna be like the Menzingers are my staple on whenever I catch a case of the Boohoos. The Menzingers are always there for me. Every Time I Die is fucking Every Time I Die. Knocked Loose. I just been so fucking big into them the last 2 years. And then Dance Gavin Dance, I listen to them a lot, but also their album that they just came out with, Jackpot Juicer. Like it's so good. Like Tillian didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like it's good. It's fucking good. But yeah, man, Counterparts is my top band. I think it was. Oh yeah, here's the fucking thing with Counterparts. Yeah, I listened to 1,874 minutes, and I was in the top 0.5% of Counterparts listeners. So damn. I listened to them a couple times, but I am much more interested in what yours were.
So mine is the artist. This is what I'm talking about, though, dude. Is like you just found out about Counterparts near the like recently, right? This year.
Yeah.
But, like the only thing I can think of, and that would make sense now that I'm thinking about it, is the fact that you discovered Counterparts and then you went back and you listened to other stuff by them.
And also to a big
because
thing,
Dance Gavin Dance is one of your favorite bands, and they put out a new album this year, and you liked it.
Yeah.
So like maybe you didn't like it as much as we thought. But
well, no, I do like it a lot, but also coinciding with the fact that we were talking so much about that, I got over it was like a system overload on Dance Gavin Dance. So I listened to them a shitload, but then after we did the review, I actually didn't listen to them for probably a couple months.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes more sense.
That's happened. And also too, like one of my big things with music, it's sort of where I got the original, we sort of shifted from the original like thesis of the podcast, but the original idea of the podcast was sort of like, you know, dragging the lake, looking for new shit, giving you guys, letting you guys know what good. I mean, we still do that. We still like as much as we can let you know what like new good fucking music is. But one of my favorite things to do is like just listen to new music. And when you discover that band that you've never heard, but they just lock in. And that's what Counterparts was for me this year. They were a band that I've never heard before this year. And they just locked in and became this band that was just the exact thing I wanted to hear. You know what I mean? Like never heard them before. And then just boom, immediately you have this treasure trove of music that is just everything I want to hear. That's my favorite thing to discover with looking for music. So when I find a band that I really like that, I will get a little bit obsessive with them and go deep into their catalog. And then it also helped that they've been around since fucking like 2010, so they had a lot of music to listen to.
Right. Yeah, that's why. So that makes more sense. My top artist definitely makes sense as well. Obviously, number one, my number one band. Number two, again, those could be interchangeable any other day. Number three is a little bit surprising, but I do fucking love Bruno Mars.
Let me know about that though. Why is it Bruno Mars? Because I love me some Bruno. Bruno's fucking fantastic.
His last album, the 100 Carat Gold or whatever the fuck it was, like that 100,000 K. I listened to that a lot. A lot of those probably make it onto my playlist, but also his Funkadelic one. I found out that you noticed in one of my top categories was funk. I fucking love funk. So Bruno Mars has this way of putting out like newer, like really funky songs, and I fucking love it. So
well, and that new album with Mars. That new album with Anderson .Paak, however
that's the one. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
that's a very like funk oriented album, and it's so good.
He's an incredible. He's like the Dave Grohl of music. He is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, like you know how Dave Grohl is just kind of
he's the Dave Grohl of music.
Yeah,
how's Dave Grohl not the Dave Grohl of music?
I don't know. He's kind of become like he's like I don't know if he's gonna be making a lot of music anymore. He seems sad.
Is he?
Yeah, his friend died.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean? The drummer.
But he's still like also I like the music that Bruno Mars puts out a lot more than I like the music that Dave Grohl's been putting out. I respect Dave Grohl as the artist.
Yeah.
But as far as like continuing to put out good shit, I still like Bruno Mars a lot more in that sense. But that's what Dave Grohl did put out, but a lot of like the past couple of years. But this is the interesting thing to me, right? So my top artist, NoFX, my top song, I couldn't stop listening to one of their songs here, My Vagina. I just think that's funny. You couldn't stop listening to My Vagina.
What is it about My Vagina?
I think that's the one that I know all the words to the most.
Are you a big singing in the car boy?
Big time. Look at this. Top 3% of NoFX listeners this year.
Wow.
So I'm just I'm a big deal.
Sorry, I'm not making eye contact. I've realized I can pull up my my Spotify rap, so I'm trying to see how many bands I listen to.
Oh, that's okay. My also don't forget my number 4 was Rancid, and number 5, Because of You.
And that honestly, I'm surprised. Run the Jewels made it on this. I gotta be honest. This was a much heavier, like hardcore and metal year for me than it was hip hop, which is again why I am utterly surprised it turned into my number 1 genre.
It's weird. It's that's what I'm saying. Is like that's the inconsistencies. Kirk was discussing it a little bit late on the latest episode that when they were recording Proper Bonics.
Yeah,
he was talking about his Spotify Wrapped. He's like, there's none of the stuff I listened to he's like, there's not a lot of the stuff that I was listening to at the second half of the year or like the end of the year. But I listened to it a lot. Whereas you're like, oh yeah, I started listening to this at the end. But I'd be curious to find out his like hours listened and all that stuff, because I think that's the stuff that's a little bit more telling. Also, our whatever you were awarded. Remember, you got a badge by them kind of thing.
You did? Know what I mean?
You didn't get one?
Oh wait, by the way, do you want to hear how many bands I listened to?
Yeah, the number.
What was yours?
Hold on, let me go back. I think
it was like 8 something, right?
It makes me feel like yours is gonna be more. it was like 8 something, right?
It was like some bullshit 8
It was
something,
like
right?
fucking 8. Like, wasn't it only 8 artists? Wasn't it? It was something low like that, right?
Well, apparently, I listened to 1659 1659 artists this
I
year.
think I think other people have your sign in. What are you doing?
I listened to a lot of music.
I'm essentially unemployed, Andy. I don't know. Oh, that you know what? That might be what it is. You're probably listening at work a lot.
Yeah, and also too,
Uh,
I do a lot of playlists. I got big into, I got big into. I don't even know. I forget what the fucking playlist was called, but I was trying to look up music that they play in war movies.
by the
Like,
way, I got huge into yacht rock this year. I couldn't stop listening to yacht rock and yacht rock playlists. Speaking of playlists that you're talking about, that yacht rock is not represented on there hardly at all.
oh yeah, this was a playlist, Vietnam War music. So it was
Oh,
basically
you wanted to Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
it's basically music you'd hear in fucking Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, dude, I think I tried to look up Full Metal Jacket, like a soundtrack once or something like that, the official soundtrack.
But yeah,
So,
dude,
okay.
on this playlist though, if I just get like an hour or two into the playlist, I banged out like 20, 30 bands right there. And if I was doing that a bunch of times, oh, also too, I would listen to, oh, you know what it would be too, because I would have different kicks where I'd be listening to a lot of jazz in the morning before work.
Right.
And then you go to the shop. That's just a million bands. That's just like a million groups and singers and whatever the fuck that I've never like listened to. So that was like an easy way to rack up the numbers.
So this is my award that I was awarded. I am the adventurer.
Oh,
Adventurer, excuse me. You're a seeker of sound. You venture out into the unknown searching for fresher artists, fresher, not just whatever I can get like Andy. Fresher artists, deeper cuts, newer tracks, especially gems yet to be found. That's exactly right. I almost always seem to go towards like I said, the Discover Weekly before my just normal playlist. If I need a for sure, like, oh my God, I need to get pumped up right now, or I need to have a little audio cocaine, if you know what I mean. I'll go to my playlists. But if for the most part, I'm like, let me see what you got, Spotify. And I usually get really very angry.
I actually started doing a thing because of you, because every time I hop on the Zoom chat, you're always like, you'll be playing music and I'd be like, what are you listening to? And you'll always go, oh, I don't even know. I just got my Discover Weekly on. And I'm like, I need to do that more because it actually just happened. It just happened recently. Oh, by the way, I also got the Adventurer.
Oh, nice.
We're just both two adventuring little guys.
Dude, that's what we are. We're a couple of adventurers out there on the lake dragging it.
Yes, we are.
We're in a little dinghy.
But yeah, I really like the Discover Weekly a lot because very regularly I'll like pop that on, and within about 5 or 6 songs, I got a band that I really want to dig into, and it just happened Sunday. There's some band called Scalp. They sound like a much a more I don't know, like just a grittier version of like heavy Lolo.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just like real brutal and intense. And yeah, so the Spotify, I'll give a shout out to Spot. Oh, and we should have said this at the beginning though, because I do want to like keep it 100 about Spotify, where I do think they need to, well, maybe we save this for another episode actually, because I would like to properly research the topic. But the word on the street is essentially the payouts on Spotify ain't shit.
Yeah. And
You know what I mean?
so that's what I'm wondering about. I wonder if maybe some people that maybe are bitching a little bit more, maybe certain artists aren't getting represented on people's lists, because that's what I'm wondering about. Like, if there's some fuckery happening, maybe there's some people that are like, hey, they want to say, hey, I'm top 3% of the people in the world are streaming me, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, how skewed can these statistics be? And is that how they can justify fucking over artists?
Yeah, well, I wanna understand it a little more for another week because I want to understand like what do you mean when you say fucking over artists? Because like there is all like with what Spotify provides, there is like a push and pull. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
would like I'm going to see Counterparts this weekend. I wouldn't be getting into Counterparts this hardcore. I wouldn't be going to see them live unless I was able to have access to their material on Spotify the way I am. But also at the same time, it's that thing where it's like, is it balanced? Like, are they providing? Is the payout? Is the infrastructure they're providing equivalent to how much they're not paying them? Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
I
how
mean,
I
do
it's
you pay? Do you pay for Spotify?
yeah, me and my wife split it.
Okay, but that's so. There's things like so you share an account.
Yeah.
So I wonder like because that's what I'm wondering. There can't be. Is there a way that because I don't pay anything more than just the regular like price. Like it's like 10 something like 10.23 or something like that a month. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it is, but it's like a thing and I just have it like auto come out of the fucking credit card or something like that. So it's not like it's a I doubt that they're making a ton of money, but there's got to be other ways that they so maybe it,
Spotify?
yeah, but they also got into like Anchor and like podcasting shit like that. Like
Yeah.
they're expanding in the right ways. I think that they're able to pay more. Is that what you're talking about? Just not paying the artist enough for the streams that they're getting?
Yeah, I
Or
just my
what is the actual infrastructure? Because that does kind of go into the other thing we were talking about. We
well go
wanted to talk about today, the billboard thing.
yeah, go it well, yeah, with Spotify, it kind of goes into a thing where you're like, are there, because I remember reading somewhere that like per stream, it's a crazy fraction of a penny. But then, if you go and look at how much profit are they making, and then but then also too at the same time, I'll bring up the point again. It's like the sort of the benefit of having people being able to access your music more easily
Yeah.
is that creating because like I think about it with like there's a lot of times there's a lot of times like with panties in the mouth we've done bigger podcasts and like no one pays you to do podcasts but like we've done bigger podcasts where when we're done a bunch of people find out about us we see the Patreon numbers go up we see our views and shit like that go up. So it's like, yeah, we didn't get paid to do it, but I could give a fuck because we got a lot of benefit out there. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like when people like there's times where people will be like, "Oh, I'll pay you an exposure." And it's like, "Well, no, we actually did like it
Yeah.
benefited us
Yeah. Yeah.
to like be in this even though we didn't get a fucking paycheck. I don't care because it benefited us." You know what I mean? Like every time we go do a gas digital thing, we see the Patreon go up. So it's just like I give a fuck if they pay us, dude. It's helping us out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's also when it comes to comedy and stuff like that, you're like, that's the game. That's how it is. That's how everyone. So I'm wondering how much of that with the music is like, does the benefit of what Spotify provides the artist outweigh the potentially low payout they're getting. You know what I'm
I think
saying?
I think with now with the fact that Andy with the new normal with everything open back up and everything, I think now with bands having an opportunity to make money live in a lot of
Yeah.
venues and not necessarily always having to work with Ticketmaster, there's a lot of other ticket options that you can use and you can put on your own shows. With the accessibility for a lot of artists, I think the amount of work that they want to put into making money, like it's not as easy as it could have been in the past, where it's just put your music out and make money off of that or make up, like you still have to promote it. You got to support your album. You got to go out on tour. You have to do it's the same thing as it's always been, but now there is way more accessibility and way more ways for the artist to make their own money. I think
Mm-hmm.
excuses like that, I think, are just it is the opportunity. You get the fact that you do get paid and you're accessible on Spotify because every once in a while I'll look up an artist that I feel like should be on there and they're not, and I'm like, all right, fuck you. I'm not I'm not looking anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a thing. Like it's not necessarily that Spotify is the end all be all, but it is kind of weird when you don't see an artist when an art that means an artist specifically went out of their way to not be available to fans. You know what I mean? Like I kind of hate that because I think we all know that, and you put it into this perspective as comics. Stand-up comedians know now that if you want to put out a special, put out a fucking special. Film it yourself, make it look cool, and put it on your YouTube channel. That's kind of how it is too. Oh, my kitty cat likes you. Carmela's slapping you in the screen. But it's kind of like, get the fuck out of here.
Hey,
it's kind
Pat,
of like,
the podcast you're on?
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on? But it's kind of like it's just the fact that I feel like there's too many other ways for artists to make money in a like a real way, like that the I think with Spotify it is about the exposure. I think you should be happy that you're available on there if you make money, because Taylor Swift did that whole thing. There were a couple years ago where she's like, hey, artists should be paid more. So like they've just gotten a bump not too long ago.
Are you pro Taylor Swift now?
I'm anti Taylor Swift, except for the fact that unless she wants to like hang out and have some soup with me.
Did you hear, by the
I
way,
want to pick her brain.
Quick, I would love to. Did you, by the way, quick sidebar, did you hear what happened to the Kanye West subreddit?
No.
Yeah, wait. Let me see if it's oh, I don't know if this okay. It might have been like a joke at the time, but it was going around when Kanye was just, goofing off to the extreme. We'll put kindly.
He's having a real goofy time, yeah.
Yeah, when he was just being like a top tier third rate goofball. The Kanye West subreddit was like, all right, we're not a Kanye subreddit anymore. We're a Taylor Swift subreddit. Yeah, they're just like T Swift for life. We're T dogs now.
Oh wow, just like that. It was all, and I'm sure the memes are flow. Wait, so is it still that way?
No.
Oh,
they're kind of doing their own thing now.
Well, that's anticlimactic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to let everyone down. My fault, guys.
You really lost steam on that last topic. Hey, Andy, tell me a little bit about the Billboard top artists of the 22. This is a lot of words. Remember, I did.
Yeah, let's wrap it up here.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Too. We can do that.
Actually, no, real quick. Shout out to the people commenting. We do want to show some love. We appreciate the comments on all the videos, but there was another question, before we got asked if we like Fugazi, and our response, love them all, nothing but respect.
Yeah,
and then we got nothing but love, and then we got another question. Let me look it up specifically to get the exact. No,
anybody watching, listening, or at all involved, if you want us to give our opinion on a band, or if you want us to talk about a band, just suggest it in the comments on any of the videos on YouTube or any of the posts we put up.
Yeah, if you have any ideas for topics or whatever the fuck, we love people asking questions. Sorry, that sounded disingenuous. I really do love it. I will kill myself for all of you.
You don't have to make eye contact. Just I understood. Yeah.
I will die for you. To quote Prince, I will die for you. I have another band. I would like to know what Pat and Andy's thoughts on are. If you guys are having a slow news week, it's Screeching Weasel. Really important or really obnoxious. Your nostalgia talk made me think of them. Your answer is going to be probably more thorough than mine because I don't have a lot of history of Screeching Weasel. Basically, my history with Screeching Weasel is I kind of like, I don't know. I was like weirdly, I'd listened to like way too much pop punk to be this pretentious, but I was. And there was something about like certain band names would hit me a certain type of way. And for some reason, I just didn't like the name Screeching Weasel. And
really?
What?
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, it makes no sense because I was in love with Real Big Fish.
Yeah.
That's also a stupid
that does not
band.
roll off the tongue. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying what happened. But Yeah, I remember listening to them. I remember my brother liked them. I didn't really get super duper into them, but I remember they were a big they were part of, you know, the whole wave of like finding out a bunch of punk because of Tony Hawk. And the one song I really liked of them was Hey Suburbia. And I know that one hit. You know, growing up in the suburbs, it was really, really fucking catchy. I like that one a lot. But beyond that, beyond enjoying Hey Suburbia, I don't really have much of an opinion on Screeching Weasel.
I am almost the opposite. I think Screeching Weasel is essential listening for any punk fan, but like honestly, you got to kind of like pop punk. So I'm also a big fan of like the Queers and a lot of other like bands that are kind of
That's what I heard. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna kill
but
myself. I'm
I,
I'm
I almost
serious this time. I'm killing myself.
if I may be so bold, I kind of feel like bands like Screeching Weasels or Screeching. I do that thing, by the way. They're a band that my entire life I've always pluralized, and I know it's Screeching Weasel, right? Or is it Screeching
Yeah.
Weasel?
Lemaire and Nate do that all the time.
I pluralize it all the time.
Nate says Wawas, and then every time Lemaire talks about
That's just
Skankfest,
because he's thirsty, right?
Wawas. Yeah, that's Nate wanting milk. And then oh, by the way, if anyone wants to know why I have gross hands, I got spray paint on myself today and I didn't clean
Oh,
it all off. And then Lemaire always, I don't know why, but he always says Skanks Fest.
yeah, yeah.
Every
That's
time he brings
weird.
that up, he says Skanks Fest.
I always do it with Screeching Weasels. So
Yeah.
Screeching Weasels is a band that I feel falls into the heavy as the crown title of our generation's like Ramones. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
think but it's so much more complex than that. Like I feel they are on par, in my opinion, with like the Ramones. They're a foundation band in my listening.
Okay.
So
I would say
and
that. I remember you had me listening to a lot of them when we were doing a pop punk list back in the day when the podcast was called What If,
yeah,
or What About, whatever the fuck we called it.
yeah. It was
Um,
like what if we it was and then we just did a bunch of what if scenarios that if we were gay in like certain bands.
yeah. It was mainly if we were gay.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, every time, yes. But I remember when we did the pop punk one, you had a lot of Screeching Weasel, and I was listening to them, and I was just like, you could hear. It was a similar one. I remember first time listening to the Descendants. That's a band I never get the right on the first time.
Yeah.
But I first time I listened to the Descendants, and similar with Screeching Weasel, I heard them, and I go, oh, that's why other people sound the way they do.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of their Descendants would be another good example of that, of this kind of just classic, and not just because of the name or because of the songs. Like they have
Yeah.
like for me, my main song by them that like really got me to love them was Cool Kids,
Okay.
and it's basically they're they're super melodic. Also, I was a huge fan of MXPX. I kind of did like when as I was listening to Screeching Weasel, it made me like listen. I think what it is they're so influenced by them that like when I started listening to MXPX and then I was introduced to Screeching Weasel and I was like, oh my god, this is like a fucking like edgier. And this is a non-Christian
Yeah.
MXPX.
Yeah. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
And it's like and they're immensely like to me they're more layered and a little bit more complex and more entertaining than like the Ramones. And I don't mean that as disrespect to the Ramones. The Ramones were again a foundation band
Yeah, but
that
the Ramones also too were like they were like they like got in early before people figured out how to like really do it right.
it's like one of those things where like they did that and then you're like, oh shit, that's amazing, but also what
And
if we
then
did it like it just inspired better art. That's all it was. Like it's not that it's not
well,
bad, it's not
it's
like good or bad, it's just not it's not really comparable because I don't think they were happening a lot of times. But as far as being a prolific band, I think Screeching Weasel put out way
quality
more music.
content.
Yeah, more music that was just more entertaining to me than
Yeah.
if I were to listen to. I would love to see the Ramones live, sure, but not because I'm like I love these songs. It's like this would be a cool place to be because I know that they put on a good live performance and I also like the songs. But Screeching Weasel, I would be singing the songs because I would be enjoying. I already enjoy the songs and the music, and I already listened to them. I'm actually surprised they weren't one of my top artists.
Really?
But
That's how much you listen to them?
like there's always like a song kind of like mixed in there, I feel like, but maybe somehow they worked out of the. I feel like either my playlist is way too long and I don't get enough shuffle in it,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe I just need to take out some of the, because I feel like I don't think I listened to Vibrant Thing that much this year. I really don't. I like Q-Tip and all, but like I don't think I listened to it that much. I don't think I listened more than fucking Bad Religion. You know what I
Maybe.
mean? So in my
Yeah, it's hard
opinion,
to tell though.
Screeching Weasels are like a foundation kind of band, and they could be. I totally see the argument for somebody being like they're annoying or whatever if you don't like that snotty kind of nasally vocals and like literally there's a song where they I think they even kind of have it's like the song I said cool kids or whatever is
Mm-hmm.
legitimately just saying there's a real cool club and you're not a part of it. That's that's the lyrics to that song, and it's kind of like one of those things of like, but it felt like almost I don't know. It just felt it was I don't know if it was relatable or if it was just the melody of it, but it's been a band that I've like really loved since I've been listening to punk music.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, there we go. Thank you for the comment, Derek. Anyone else who wants to throw a comment down below, fucking do it so we don't end our lives. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. We love you all. Be about it. Peace.